All right, welcome back to Life Fit with DVD. Thanks for being here. Today, I wanted to talk about your attention, how it's being stolen, and how you can reclaim your mind from overwhelm and all of the other feelings that this world is inducing in us. So, you know how it is, right? You're constantly busy, but at the end of the day, you can't point to what you actually accomplished. You feel drained, scattered, and like you're reacting to a million different demands instead of moving forward towards your own goals. Do you even know what your own goals are? This isn't a sign that you need a better planner. This is a sign that your attention, your consciousness itself, is being hijacked. So, that feeling of being overwhelmed isn't about the number of tasks, it's about your state of mind. And that state is being manufactured by the devices in our pockets, the platforms that we watch, right? Everything is designed in this world to addict us, to draw us in, to take our consciousness away from actually thinking about the present moment. So, why do we feel this way, right? Well, there is a cognitive bandwidth crisis. That's your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that is responsible for focus, decision making, and impulse control. And it only has a limited capacity. So, it's like the RAM in your computer. When you have too many tabs open, you have too many programs or apps open on your phone, everything's going to run slower. So there is a toll from this decision making, and it's decision making fatigue, right? Every notification, every trivial choice, what to watch, what to buy, every message that pops up, right? And every context switch, app to app, drains this precious resource. So by the time that you need to make an important life decision, like what are you going to eat? When are you going to sleep? What do you need to do today? Right? Your mental energy is bankrupt, and you make the worst choices. You may become impulsive. You might seek short-term dopamine hits to then distract yourself. And then this illusion of multitasking, which is created, leads to this busyness. So, the brain doesn't multitask. It task switches, right? So people think that I'm good at multitasking, right? That's actually impossible, right? It's simply your brain putting other things on standby while it focuses on another task. Sure, your unconscious or subconscious mind can do things like driving a car and thinking other things at the same time, but when it comes to these important decisions, right, each task switch comes with this cognitive penalty, burning energy and reducing the quality of what your work, of the quality of all of your work on all tasks. So the constant switching is what creates the underlying feeling of anxiety and being overwhelmed. So the weaponization of your attention is really social media. So if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Right? A lot of social media is free for this reason. And social media platforms are in the business of selling your attention to advertisers. This entire design is optimized for one thing, which is maximizing your time on the screen. And there's a variety of tools that they do to hijack your mind. So there's variable rewards, right? It's basically like a slot machine. The endless, unpredictable scroll of what are you going to get next, a funny video, a dramatic headline, right? All of these are in specific orders to trigger a dopamine loop that is chemically addictive for your brain and body. And another way they can do this is FOMO, fear of missing out. Engineering you to make you feel like you're going to be left out of knowing what's going on, the cultural conversation. that you're just basically going to miss out when you log off and you're not plugged into that matrix of things. So there's also the highlight reel, the constant exposure to a curated perfection, which creates an anxiety of comparison, that you're not doing enough, or that you're not simply not enough. So the result is you have a mind then that is conditioned for distraction, incapable of deep, sustained focus required for meaningful work and a calmer inner life and inner peace. So how do you disconnect from this and reconnect? So the goal is not just to use social media less, right, but to become the sovereign ruler of your own attention. Now, this is a challenge. I've done videos about this before, and I'm doing another video about it because I realize that I have been doing a lot of these things and letting my consciousness get hijacked by these platforms. So you need to become the ruler of your own attention, and that is to move from a state of reaction to a state of intention or response. So you use your phone screen time tracker for 1 week. Don't judge, just observe. Now, how many hours, how many times have you picked up your phone over this week, and is it going up? Is it going down? When are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Actually review and think about what were you doing during these times. So this is just a digital audit of looking at things and tally up where these apps are stealing your time. So the next is the radical reset. So delete these apps, not just off your home screen, delete them from your phone. If you need to use them, use a desktop computer or some other app that will limit your time on them. This is the single act of friction. This single act of friction breaks the mindless scrolling habit where you just pop open your phone, click the app, and then you're plugged in, right? Turn off almost all notifications, right? Your phone should not be allowed to interrupt your life. And notifications are for people, not for apps. So, right, remove the notifications from apps away, and you can even designate specific times where you're going to look at texts, phone calls, voice messages, whatever. And yeah, schedule it, right? Design specific times where you chunk out time for your day to go through these messages. Outside of that, right, it doesn't exist. You don't have to be available to everybody at all periods of time. You might want to, right? Your brain might want that dopamine hit of, I sent these messages, who got back to me? But you don't necessarily need it, right? A lot of our culture has been conditioned to be available at all times. And I mean, if you just think about it, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, hardly anybody was available at all times, right? They only had a home phone line. It's like, and it was paradise. People, you didn't know where people were. You just had to trust that, everybody was alive, and hey, we'd regroup at some point in time, and we'll see them again. But that's just not the world that we live in. The digital age here has done just so much damage to our consciousness and our ability to just be and exist and be human. So you need to reclaim the void here. So you're going to feel boredom. You're going to feel anxiety. This is withdrawal, because this is a drug. This is the feeling of your mind detoxing. So do not reach for the phone, right? If you feel compelled to, sit in silence. This is where ultimately creativity will kick back in. Self-awareness will begin to, reappear of, what are you doing? Why are you thinking this? This genuine urge to actually do something will be born, right? And you will have a decision. So this is about being 100% intentional. And it's going to be a new rule for yourself, as much as you can. And sure, you might drift, but always try to bring it back to focusing on, are you being intentional with your day, with your consciousness, your mind? before you open any app or device, right? Ask yourself, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? Like, why am I here? Am I looking for something specific, or am I getting distracted? Am I opening up maps to get directions to my appointment, or am I just looking at maps to just to look at them because I'm curious about something else, or random? It's not important. Are you opening up Instagram to, well, what? That's reactive. But batch your tasks, group similar tasks together, all errands, all calls, all deep work. Minimize the context switching to preserve that cognitive bandwidth. And the conclusion here is that you want to free up your RAM in your mind, right? Free up that prefrontal cortex so you can be able to make better decisions for yourself, because you're not so overwhelmed with all of the things that are going on in life. And sure, right, this isn't just social media, it's everything in the world, right? It is particularly difficult when we live in a society where everybody is plugged into their phones. But this is why it's even more important that you need to be intentional with your own consciousness and your own time. Because if you get caught up in what everybody else is doing, how everybody else is feeling, and what sort of schedule you should be on, right, you're going to lose yourself in that. So ultimately, the quietest mind in the room is often the most powerful, right? If you want to take back control of your life, this is what you want to do. Restore that peace to your mind. So I challenge you to a 24-hour social media detox. I will be doing one soon. Delete the apps from your phone just for one day, right? If you really need it, then you can bring it back. But ultimately, you might not. That's pretty liberating. So pay attention to the urge, the boredom, right? And ultimately the peace of mind that follows inevitably, right? Sometimes it doesn't take just one day. It might take a few days before you start to think differently. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you tried this and what you might have discovered about yourself. It'd be interesting to hear. So if you enjoyed this video, please like or subscribe. That'd mean a lot to me. And let's reclaim our being. I mean, it would be awesome if more people tried this and got on the bandwagon of becoming human again. So thanks for watching, and until next time, see ya.